Precious Opportunity Meditation. This meditation is meant to help us familiarize and then centralize on the idea that this is a precious human life. It's meant to, in general, just highlight all the things that we can be grateful for about this life. It's easy to get caught up in where all the problems are and the deficits and maybe what we don't have. This is meant to reorient to what we do have and recognize that this precious opportunity is actually not that likely. This is meant to bring that back to the forefront based on a classic Buddhist visualization practice. So you can take a seated meditation posture. You can leave your eyes open or you can leave your eyes closed. Take a few mindful breaths. And first, we're going to visualize and take a few moments to imagine all the factors throughout the entire history of humanity that had to align just right for you to even exist. A highly unlikely event of your existence, going back generation after generation after generation. All the things that lined up in a highly unlikely way that led to your being. Could have gone any other way at any given point. And recognize that nonetheless, here we are. A precious opportunity. Now envision, imagine all the different places and times throughout history that you could have been born. Even on this planet at this time, you can imagine all the different places you could have been born. Scan through all those possible scenarios. Imagine what it would like to be born at a different time in a different place. And then reflect back to being born where you were born. And being born at this time. A precious opportunity. Now, imagine being born at a time in a place where there's no availability of information. No access to education. No access to culture. No access to spiritual practice. Any number of dark ages and dark times. Imagine what it would be like to live that kind of life. And then reflect back to this life, to this time, where we have essentially unlimited access to as much information, as much culture, as much spiritual practice as we could ever take part in. All you need is an internet dial-up these days and you have access to anything you want. More than we can manage. A precious opportunity. Limitless access to that sort of resource. You can learn about anything you want. Now take a moment to envisioning living at a place or at a time where the threat of violence or the threat of basic survival has to be the forefront of your being. Just worrying about keeping yourself safe, keeping your family safe, getting basic needs, shelter, food, water, medical care. All the times this has been true throughout the entirety of history, and even all the places now today where that's true. Imagine what it would like to be like to live that life. And now juxtapose that to right here, right now. We can see that we're very likely sitting in a very safe place. We don't have to worry about a degree of violence such that we can't practice. You've probably eaten today. We have a safe shelter. Very precious and unlikely opportunity. Now visualize and imagine all the different bodies that you could have been born into. All the different physical bodies. Imagining all the different variations that could have been. Imagining the bodies that could be experiencing things like pains or illnesses, whether it's lifelong or just for this moment, that made it such that it was too distracting to practice. Too painful, too uncomfortable. And then juxtapose that to this body and this life. How lucky we are to have this body, a precious human body that is healthier than it is ill. A precious opportunity. And now envision all the different lives with all the different sort of brains, neurological systems, and the different qualities of mind that we could have been born with or developed. All the different types of mental pain or severe forms of mental illness. Some of them maybe we've experienced during our own lifetime. Being too much mental pain, or being in addiction, or being in traumatic responses. Imagine what those lives may be, or what those times have been like for us. And now we juxtapose this to right here, right now, where we have enough peace of mind to practice. We have good intelligence, we have good clarity. Everything may or may not be perfect, but there's enough stability and calmness of mind to even try these practices. It's a precious opportunity of all the minds we could have had. Now we can imagine, sort of a classic Buddhist way, you can imagine these as entire lands, or you can imagine these as mental states, or both. Imagine that we're in a realm that is entirely focused and consumed by pain and suffering. Or being in a hungry ghost realm where there's never satisfaction. It's really strong craving and never any end to that craving. Like intense addiction. Or imagine being in an animal realm, ignorant to things just beyond meeting basic needs and aggression. Or imagine being in the demigod realm where we're just consumed by jealousy and envy. Living an entire life like that. Or in what they call the God realm, really attached to all the sensory good stuff and intense fear of losing it all. Imagine living an entire life based on those emotions, or being consumed by those mental states. And then recognize that we have this precious human life, a precious opportunity. And now we imagine three inevitable things: sickness, old age, and death. Imagine right now coming to a point where we are too sick to practice, where we've become too old to practice. And then imagining inevitable your own death. We juxtapose this to right here, right now, this body, this mind, this life, at this moment where we are very much alive, very much alive. Incredibly unlikely and precious opportunity. You can bring the visualization to a close. And keep close to your heart the familiarity of the feeling of the preciousness of this human life.